pull off the bill, the check, and then
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Thank you all for being here and welcome to the December 11th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting. Brett, will you call the roll, please?
Pearl Carpenter,
President.
Amanda Cope,
Here.
Josh Fletcher,
Present.
Tina King, Jeff Martin,
Here.
Jerry McDermott,
Present.
Brant Moore, Jeff Peters,
Here.
Susan Ralston,
Here.
Steve White, Nick Sutton, Austin Boudreau.
Oh, got a hearing from the, oh, there you go. Okay, we do have a quorum. You have in front of you the meeting minutes from both the November 13th meeting and then the special meeting on November 27th. We can do those as a combined motion unless somebody has a change that they would like to make or a modification to either one of those minutes.
I have no problem with either meeting, so I'll make a motion that we accept them as written.
Okay, there is a motion for the 2 minutes to be accepted as written. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, Mr. McDermott seconds. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, hearing none, that has passed. A little background of how the meeting will work tonight. We will have the planning staff read us the written report for the application before you this evening. Upon doing that, then the planning commission members will ask questions of the staff, if any. Then after that's concluded, we will have a petitioner speak. And then when that is concluded, the staff and the commission will ask questions, if any, to the petitioner. Then upon closing that, we will ask if there's any correspondence that we've read, that we've received. And then we will call for the findings of fact, and then we will have a motion. We would ask that if you speak, that you would state your name and your address. And if you haven't done so already, we'd appreciate if you'd sign in so we know who is in attendance. So with that said, Brett, if you would read our first case for this evening.
Okay, the first agenda item for this evening is Enterprise Point Secondary Plat. They're seeking plat amendment. Owner and applicant is Enterprise Point LP. Location is at 903, 905 South Wayne Street here in Angola. Current zoning is PD. Plan development. Hearing date is today's date, December 11th. Legal notices appeared in the Herald Republican on December 1st. 49 property owners within 300 feet of the project were sent certificate of mailing on November 30th. Applicable code is Title 18 of the UDO, Indiana Code Subdivision Control 36-7-4-700 series. The project's not located within the floodplain, and staff recommendation is approval. In March of 2020, the Enterprise Point subdivision was approved by this board and recorded as a 3-lot subdivision zoned PD plan development in the southeast corner of East Felicity Street and South Wayne Street. Lot 1 consists of 0.936 acres in the home of the Easter Seals Rise, outlined in red. Lot 2 consists of 0.293 acres, which is currently vacant, outlined in green. And Lot 3 is the largest at 2.8 acres with it containing the Steuben County EDC along South Wayne Street and Enterprise Point Apartments towards the east side, outlined in the blue. Today, the petitioner wishes to further subdivide Lot 3, the 2.8 acres, into 2 lots. Lot 3A to be 0.676 acres will front South Wayne Street and incorporate the Steuben County EDC. The remaining acreage of 2.124 acres, Lot 3B, will hold the existing 50-unit apartment building. The entire Enterprise Point subdivision will retain its current zoning of planned development. The end goal is to sell Lot 3A to the Steuben County EDC. Next, you can see some plan review comments. This was put together before we received comments back. So majority of these for the MS4 department and our department that have been addressed or in the process of being reviewed for like the easements and the literature. So you can read through them, but most of them have been addressed back and forth with Keller Development. Next, we'll move into contextual zoning. As mentioned, the property is zone PD, planned development. To the north, you have a couple of C1 commercial properties and traditional residential in the Henry Park Elementary. To the east, you have Reddington Heights, zoned R2. To the south, the C2 properties in Timber Creek subdivision. And to the west, you have C1 commercial property with more traditional residential. To today's date, we've received no public input as the notice is being sent. And staff conclusion is there are no plans for expansion of any buildings or further improvements. This plat amendment is purely for the goal of ownership. Staff recommendations for conditions of approval is that all easements are reviewed and approved by staff prior to signatures on the plat, and that all routing comments are adequately addressed, determined by staff.
Okay, thank you. Do any members have questions regarding this petition for staff?
That's basically what, the parking lot, driveway?
It doesn't see that building.
Well,
For the lot 3B?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I uploaded
3A
it.
and 3B.
It is mainly, that has the building and the parking lot, correct?
What building though?
It has, oh, let's scroll.
It's an apartment complex.
Yep,
So I guess 3A.
3A.
3A is the small EDC building. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, where am I at? Right there. This here I'm circling is the 3A. And then the
Okay.
rest here is the 3B.
And there's no landlocked situation, right? I mean, the one drive goes out on Felicity and the other goes out to,
Right, and they're in the process for the easements of cross access for both like Felicity and South Wayne Street.
Yeah, they're also getting easements for Easter seals and
Yeah, all that together and shared parking and, yeah.
that doesn't include that little chunk right on the corner of East Felicity and South Wayne.
The lot 2, I believe, on the,
Yes.
yeah. Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, but is going to be literature for that as well and the easement? No? Okay. No, not at this time.
is there any other questions? Okay, hearing none. If there's a petitioner present who'd like to add any additional information, you're welcome to do so.
Hi, Danelle with Keller Development, 2455 West Hill Road, Fort Wayne, representing Enterprise Point and Bright Point, which is the owner of Enterprise Point. Wanted to give you a little bit of background on this development. In 2018, we set up an agreement with the Steuben County EDC to actually, they were donating the property to the project. And then in return, we would build a shell structure for them on the site. And at some point during that, the next couple of years that they could actually have ownership of that. So it was our intent the entire time to deed the EDC building back to them. So I wanted to kind of clear that up a little bit. It's not a new purchase. It's just finishing our original agreement. And then any restrictions that we agreed to would stay in place originally. There's not much changing, just basically just deeding off that little parcel for the EDC.
Thank you. Any questions for the petitioner?
I don't have any questions, but I remember when this all come before us, I assume the same restrictions that will comply with all of our utilities.
Yes. Yep, everything's gonna stay the same. The EDC building already has their own utilities and the stormwater's already been broke out originally, so.
That's my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
At this time, we will ask that we will open the meeting up for public comment. If there is anybody who wishes to speak on or about this particular petition, you are welcome to do so at this time.
My name is Mary Ferrier and I live on South Wayne Street. And actually, I have a question. Is this property being sold to the EDC?
No.
So
It's
they,
being deeded to them.
Let's address our questions to the board.
Yeah,
Oh,
She will answer.
oh, to the
sorry.
board.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so they own it, so, because it said on here that it was, the end goal is to sell lot 3A to the EDC.
Rick can comment on that,
Okay.
on the structure of the agreement.
As she mentioned, it was the deeded, it's my error on that is putting selling. But in the conclusion of basically is this exchange of ownership from the previous agreement of that they would provide a structure and then once in return deed it back. Not a technical true sell or sale of property. Mary, if I may ask, and you said South Wayne Street, what's your house number, please?
You're recording this for the internet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Give it to you later.
That's fine,
That's
thank
fine.
you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I will close that portion. And again, you commented there was no outside correspondence?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. And I misspoke earlier. I believe I said there'd be findings of fact. There probably isn't for this particular issue, is there? Okay. Does anyone on the board have any final questions or concerns they'd like to make regarding this? Okay. Hearing or seeing no one, we would entertain a motion with the outlined conditions that have been recommended by staff.
I move that we approve the recommendations, including the conditions that staff has created.
Okay, there is a motion to approve with conditions 1 and 2 that are noted. Is there a second for that? Mr. Peters seconds. I'm sorry, Susan. We will call for the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion has passed. Thank you. In addition to tonight's business, do we have any address reports?
No address report.
We have no address reports. I see that we have updated rules and procedures. Is that something that we need to comment on or?
Yeah, we can touch base on there. As you look at the screen, I'll let Jennifer speak on them if she may.
You can scroll through this. So you guys, at the last meeting, talked about Title 18. Not the special
Not the
meeting,
special.
the one before, yeah. Title 18 and the amendments that we were doing there. So part of that is now we need to update our rules and procedures. to match with what's going on in the UDO, and some other items as well. So we are proposing turning street numbers over to staff, giving us the authority to go ahead and sign and assign those numbers. So we won't have to do address reports here. Keep going down, Brett. This is your plat meeting. So if you remember, we have different categories of subdivisions. So we will have a plat committee. We need to determine when they will meet each month. And if you keep going, Brett, we'll look at the makeup of that plat committee. Let's just keep going. It says, look at this code down here. Well, we'll interrupt because this came first. Instead of 300 feet, the notice boundary, we're proposing the contiguous or adjacent property owners. You exclude the right of way in that. So any parcel that touches the one on the application would get a notice rather than 300 feet. Either is acceptable with Indiana code. Same thing there. All right, so that's the notice. 6.7 is how you get notified. 7.3 is the plat committee itself. So one member of the plan commission, one member of staff from the engineering department, 3 members shall be appointed by the plan commission and may include plan commission members, but doesn't have to. So they're 1-year terms. You do it every year. And that is the makeup of your plat committee. So that is the biggest change you're seeing there. So if council approves it next week, this will go into effect the first of the year as far as the ordinance itself. I don't think there was anything else. If you want to check, Brett. It's just the address review. Can you? Nope, that's it.
Just a provision.
Just a question, I guess, Jennifer.
Mhm.
Why the change to only the properties that are touching the application rather than 300 feet? I know we could do both, but
Either is acceptable. You are the first city I've ever seen in Indiana that does 300 feet. Most counties do 300. Most cities do adjacent. For example, when you get into, especially like in subdivisions and plats, I think I don't know, what were one of the schools notices, Brett? It was like
Park.
of like 100.
Oh, yeah, that was like 100 notices.
Mhm.
reason I asked, I just don't want people coming to me and saying, why didn't I not know this?
Well, people are gonna do that no matter what, as you
As I have
well know.
found out.
It is still in the paper as what is required. And we post the agendas as we are required. In most cases, for example, I think at the BZA, someone brought up the north of town across from, what was that, Primco property. And there it wouldn't have mattered. The properties are so big, 300 feet, and adjacent properties are the same. So that wouldn't have increased the notices by
Okay.
any means.
Thank you.
No, I think it's good. I think there's some efficiencies to be gained there, so. We've talked about those kind of things for several years, so. Good. Thank you. Are there any other,
You guys will have to actually adopt that. Take a vote.
tonight we have to, I thought, okay, for these particular items or for the,
For the rules of procedures.
okay.
That's the question.
Sure, Steve.
We're changing it from 300 feet to any property that touches.
Yep, adjacent, contiguous or adjacent.
Okay.
We will, then, if there's no further questions, we'll take a motion for the changes of rules and procedures. Susan moves. Is there a second? Steve will second. Those in favor of these changes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, those have passed. And the final ordinance goes to city council for the first, okay, thank you.
So this is the plan commission schedule for 2024, the filing deadline and the meeting dates. The legal notice is really for us. But if you'll see the asterisks show where they're not on the normal days. So look ahead in your calendars. If there's meetings that don't work, the sooner we know, the better. So we can make sure we have quorums.
Did you change the gap between the filing
Oh,
deadline
yes.
and the?
Thank you, Amanda. So part of the UDO is we increased the filing deadline for plan commission a week. So there's a little bit longer for plan commission. We found that these applications versus BTA are much more detailed, especially as we get into more plating items, the bigger plats. And we need more time for review. Typically, they come in, they submit, we give our departments 2 weeks, and then we send comments back. And usually it's meeting time. So we're giving them a little more time to respond so you guys get more complete applications.
Are there any other staff comments tonight? Okay. This is my last meeting, so I would just like to take a couple minutes and say that I thank you for allowing me to serve. It's been an honor to do so. Mayor Hickman appointed me several years ago, and I've enjoyed it. And I would encourage, if you know people that would like to do the same, as you know, it's a great service to be involved in your community in, and not so politically minded as some people might have a problem with. So I think that's such a great thing. And yeah, thank you very much. So, and with that, we'll conclude the meeting. So we're adjourned. Thank you. Appreciate that. You know, Patrick?